Okay, so we're going to move on to the next activity, 1.1, and creating a human coordinate plane. This was going to be a fun activity where we're going to have about half the class walk around on a human coordinate plane and label it out, um, uh, and then send students out. What I'm going to do is just kind of go through some of these together with you. This will be the part that we do together, and then we'll talk about it a little bit, and then you'll do the next activity on your own. So, um, say we started at the coordinate plane, right? And we had a grid walked out. So each student's going to start here at the origin, okay? And then if I were to say, go ahead and walk 3, 2. So that student would walk 3 on the x-axis right here, and then up 2. And so student A would be 3, 2. And then for student B, I might have said, well, why don't you walk -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then +3, 1, 2, 3. So the B would be -4, 3. And then for C, I would say, hey, how about if you walk -2, 1, 2, and -6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that would be C. I'm sorry, B, A. -2, -6. And then D, I would have said, hey, why don't you walk 1, -3. So it's 1 over and -3. That's person D. And they went 1, -3. Now, if you notice, I've got a student in each coordinate. Student A is in coordinate 1. Student B is in coordinate 2. Student 3 is in coordinate 3, or student C, I should say, and student D is in coordinate 4. Okay. And as you noticed, quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. In quadrant 1, we have a positive and a positive. Quadrant 2, we have a negative and a positive. Quadrant 3, we have a negative and a negative. Quadrant 4, we have a positive and a negative. Okay. So these will always kind of stay the same when we go through these different quadrants. Quadrant 1 will always have a positive and a positive. Quadrant 2 will always have a negative and a positive. Quadrant 3 will always have a negative and a negative. And quadrant 4 will always have a positive and a negative in terms of the rational numbers in each quadrant. Okay, and you can go ahead and play around with this some more and see if you notice any more patterns as you go ahead and plot these out. Now, your job is going to be filling out this problem right here. Okay, so your job will be to go through and fill all of this out. Okay, and then tell me which ones will be your job for this activity will be to find plots that find your own plots anywhere on this graph that satisfy these conditions. Anywhere on the graph, a negative x coordinate, which would be on this side, a negative y coordinate, which would be on this side, on an axis, in quadrant 2, in quadrant 3. And then you're going to go ahead and say, write down, what do you notice about anything in quadrant 1, anything in quadrant 2, anything in quadrant 3, anything in quadrant 4, any point on the x-axis or any point on the y-axis. I would definitely use this to help you with that. Okay, so go ahead and do that. We'll come back. I'll write in some things, and you can compare to what I did when you check your answers.